Greetings, cardboard fans. Welcome back to Hot Cardboard. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Today, I wanted to talk about soccer cards because we have just completed the 2026 World Cup. I'm sure many of you were following one or more teams into the finals, and overall seemed like a pretty interesting tournament. There were definitely a lot of, good sort of rivalry, intense matchups in the road to the final. The final game was kind of a dud, and a lot of people who are huge fans of Argentina, which is one of the more popular World Cup teams in the universe, not only due to their hometown fans, but many who've adopted them. So they were kind of shut out and not very impressive in the final game, but it is what it is. Now, I'm not a huge soccer or football fan, so I have to say this is probably, other than hockey, one of the areas where, what I do in terms of collecting and investing in cards is driven by not so much an understanding of which players and teams and so forth are likely to do well, but, what I can get the best deals on. And in a lot of cases, just kind of what I've acquired because, maybe I've gotten an EQL drop on Tops, or I've managed to get something from distribution. A lot of the Panini products that you see here are from distribution, and the Tops products are kind of older and from a time when the distributor that I use actually had Tops products. And it's funny because in the COVID era, when baseball, football, basketball cards were essentially impossible to get from distribution, even the worst sets were flying off the shelves. Soccer cards were one of the few items that I actually got a handful of boxes of, and a lot of that's been sold off, but some of it is still in my inventory, so I trot it out for videos like this. But, soccer cards, speaking of the COVID era, were not really popular at all in the hobby before the COVID era. I mean, certainly there, been stickers and card sets around for a very long time. I mean, going back to like the 70s. But they haven't really, other than the stickers, which Panini, based in Italy, has done, I think, continuously since, I don't know, since the 70s. And some of those older stickers from like the 70s and 80s are really rare and valuable if they depict, Hall of Fame level players. But really, soccer cards were kind of, an outlier, an asterisk on the card collecting hobby until the COVID era. And then I think, people, as cardboard collecting in general really got super popular, everybody was sort of trying to, use logic to figure out the next area that would blow up in the card industry. And certainly soccer, has a very logical case for why the cards would, be popular and therefore valuable, since soccer internationally is, by far, I think, the most popular sport in the world. And if, any percentage of those soccer fans should find collecting cards of their favorite players to be worthwhile, then that's a huge, market that doesn't really exist terribly. Collecting cards is definitely something I feel like the American market has, really taken up more vigorously and excitedly than any other part of the world. We see that in every kind of card collecting, from TCGs like Pokemon and Magic the Gathering to, traditional sports cards that are one of the main features of this channel. So, anyways, back in the COVID era, there was definitely this idea that soccer cards should be, in high demand, and that the hobby of collecting soccer cards should be blowing up any time now. And so at that time, a lot of soccer products, some of which you see in the video here, really, really took off. And we'll look at kind of the price performance over the last year of certain of those products that were around, like this box here. It's a 2018 Donruss Soccer. It was one of the few, soccer products of an established brand like Donruss, which is made by Panini, that existed. The other one is Prism, which is over here on the bottom underneath the Topps Chrome. Panini was putting out a few soccer card sets starting back, I think, in like 2014 was the first year that they did that. I have a couple of cases of the Donruss soccer boxes from that first year, whenever that was. It was either 2014 or 2015. And so, the number of soccer products really blew up around the COVID era when I think there was just demand for anything that card manufacturers could come up with. And so Panini started to print more stuff. Topps got a license, and they printed a lot of products that they never printed before. Topps Chrome from, a bunch of different leagues like the Champions League, the UEFA, a few other ones as well. But they have a lot of products to this day. And so, what's happened since the COVID era is that things have really cooled down a lot. I mean, as you might expect, because everything that was popular during COVID cooled down a ton starting in about 2021. And that was true of soccer cards as well. It's funny because I was just thinking as I was explaining sort of how soccer cards took off during the, COVID era. The same thing happened with F1 cards, which didn't really exist. I mean, there were, again, F1 sets dating back to the 70s, but they were never really widely available, and no, major manufacturer like Panini Topps or one of the other sports card manufacturers ever took on F1 as a subject matter. But then I think in 2020, Topps Chrome F1 came out, and they've been making quite a few F1 sets since then. And those are really fun, by the way, because, there's a small handful of the top drivers in F1, and the pack opening experience is very fun because you're going to get a lot of cards of every driver, since there aren't really that many for them to make cards of. So in any event, F1 was kind of similar to this, except and F1 did cool down like everything else. But just the fact that there were fewer products out at the time, and there haven't really been quite as many F1 products made as there have been soccer cards since the COVID era boom and then bust. Those have in my, sort of mind anyways, they seem to have been much more stable in terms of their price than the soccer stuff, a lot of which has dipped very significantly. So the question I wanted to kind of answer in this video is whether, things have recuperated a bit from the, big dump in price that happened after COVID era bubble burst. And then I also want to just sort of look at what the hot products are in soccer cards. So I'm going to take you over to my web browser now, and we will look at this little chart here, which is just a list of the top performing soccer card sealed boxes from the last 90 days. And I thought about what the time period I wanted to look at was, because I can look at anything from 7 days to a year, and it does change quite significantly depending on which time frame you're looking at. But these are sorted by the price increase over this 90-day period. And as you can see, 2023 Topps Chrome products are featured here. I believe that's because one of the top guys for Spain, which won the World Cup this year, has rookie cards in 2023 soccer products, or at least some of them. I presume these. So these are up like 77, 76% over a 90-day period, which is a very significant increase. After that, it's a 2024 Premier League product, which very well may have rookie cards of one or more of the top players in the World Cup 2026 since 2024's relatively recently. And then, of course, the World Cup kind of gets its own line of card products, one of which is Prism, probably one of the more popular ones. I think Select Road to the World Cup actually just came out. I think I have a box or two on the way to me as we speak. But the Prism is definitely, the big giant in the World Cup soccer card products. So that's up 58% last 9 days. It's actually not been out that long, so I think that's actually an increase from basically the date of release until um, current prices. So other than that, and then we got 2023 again, 2022. A lot of these Topps Chrome products are appearing. So you see a lot of this stuff from like 3 to 4 years ago is appearing, and again, that's because the guys who are in there, the rookies in there, are sort of hitting their stardom for their national teams, particularly in the World Cup. And so, with all the excitement and energy around the World Cup, those products have done quite well in the last 90 days. I see Revolution Soccer, which is funny because I have a bunch of this stuff, and boy, has it been very quiet. This shows a sale of $19.79 for one of these boxes. I think I bought 50 of these things for probably $15, back in 19 or 2020. And they have just absolutely sat still. There's Christian Pulisic cards in here, which I would think would have made them more valuable. And they're not really that easy to come by, but for whatever reason, they've sat stagnant. But it's nice to see it on the chart here of top performers. So, that's kind of, gives you a sense of what's moving up in the last 90 days. And if you look at it over a year, it's, there are some older things like 2021 Prism. That's funny that this is in here. I feel like I have some of this sitting around somewhere in the long forgotten archives of failed products. And then 2023 Donruss, I think we're going to take a closer look at. But that has been a really good performer, particularly when you look at the original price of this product back in 2023. So let's just look at a couple things. And these are all 365-day charts. So 2018 soccer had, back in 2019, 2020, this was a super hot product because it was, again, one of the few, soccer card products that was made by a major manufacturer. And there were some really good key rookies in there, and it has the, rated rookie cards of them and a lot of really neat little parallels in there that you can get from each of the retail formats. This is the blaster box, and as you can see, it's been pretty stagnant over the last year, starting at $79, and now it's like $85, and it's kind of gone up and down. And by the way, I have to say that the charts we're going to be looking at, I don't consider it to be like super tight in terms of the data. This is Market Movers I'm using, which is not very good, honestly, but it's sort of the best available tool to look at, price movements on sealed sports card products. So that's why I am using it. But as we'll see, there's like anomalies that can really throw off charts. But over a long enough period of time, you can probably reliably say that this box, which used to be probably like $100 plus box back in the the big COVID era boom or shortly thereafter, this was a much more valuable box than it is today, and it's really stagnated over the last year. So people who hold some of this, like yours truly, I actually don't have blaster boxes, but I have a lot of these fat pack boxes that you can see. Again, I pointed this one out, but it's right here. It's a box of 12 fat packs in there, those hanging packs that you see on retail shelves, like Target and Walmart. At least you did back in 2018, 2019. So I have those, and I think I'm at a loss on those right now. I bought those during the COVID boom, probably for like $500 a piece, and they're probably like $400 boxes. Actually, I might have a chart of that. Yes, no, I don't. Sorry. I couldn't remember what I pulled up, but I don't have a chart of that, but we will look at another one of these boxes. So this is the chart. This is, again, a 1-year chart that starts in October of 2025. And I think before this, these boxes were worth quite a bit less. I actually had a price sticker on, yeah. So I have a price sticker on one of my boxes here of 2023 Donruss that was in the pile from the video you saw, but that price is $350 is what I had on that. Although on this, you can see the first sale is like 428, so it's almost down to that like 300s level, only looking back a year. And this one definitely does have the rookie card of that Spanish player whose name escapes me, but he's very young, as evidenced by the fact that he has rookie cards in 2023. And his appearance in the set has caused pretty much all of this gain. I think I'm guessing there's probably a few other good names in here that have rookie cards, but this thing is up to like almost $1,000 at this point in July of 2026. It got over $1,000 actually earlier in the month, probably right before the World Cup final was when that was happening. There's also a sale from 1,200. So these are really nice boxes. Again, I got these from distribution, so I probably paid like $100 for them or something ridiculous, and I just bought them. Honestly, a lot of times I'm looking for what I can buy from distribution that isn't going to be a complete and total train wreck, because most of the stuff that you can actually just order easily and actually get from distribution is stuff that you will lose money on if you buy it and then sell it immediately, on eBay, particularly if you're paying a 15% fee. But even if you sell it on your own website and you're paying, less in fees, it's likely that you will probably lose money, or you'll make like $1 on a $100 box. That's most of the stuff that you can get from distribution these days. So, these ones I think I just picked up because I remember how popular the hobby boxes of 2018 Donruss were back in the COVID boom. And I thought, well, if there's just one or two good players in something like this, I know it's going to be, well received by the market. So I picked up two of them. I mean, I think I probably ordered whatever, like 4 or 5 of them, and two was all I got. That's kind of how it works with distribution. So yeah, I just held on to these. I probably tried to sell it at like a card show or something, which is why I had a price sticker on it, and didn't sell. So I'm very glad it didn't, because things like this can happen with these sorts of products. So that's just one example of something that's done quite well. Here's another one of the COVID era, kind of superstar products, which is the 2018 Prism stuff. Now this is another cello pack box, like that 2018 Donruss one that I have. The hobby box of this stuff go for way, way more than, in fact, I think like hobby boxes of this stuff are like over $3,000 right now. But during the COVID era boom, I bought, I think, like 5 of these boxes for, I'm pretty sure I paid between $1,500 and $2,000 a piece. And these have Mbappe cards in them that I think are like his maybe second year card. And might be the first year he appeared in Prism. So that was driving, the price of these back in the COVID, along with, just rampant speculation that was all over the place in COVID. And, when the COVID era bubble crashed and soccer cards in general all just went like down a lot, this box, really got hit hard. So it's been treading water since then at the $500-$600 level. Mbappe, I think, was a feature player in the World Cup here for France, I believe. So, this did have a little bit of a run up. This sale here, which drags this chart down, is just a bogus sale, I think. I looked it up. It's an auction. It did end for $281. It was through a consignment company called PC Sports Cards, which makes me never, ever, 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 ever want to sell something through them, because market is clearly $700, $800 on this box. And if they auction it and got $281, then they really suck. And they should not ever have something consigned to them, in my opinion, if they do that, if their auction performed this poorly. But I mean, it can happen. It's not a box that probably a lot of people are looking for. So I don't know, just maybe it closed on a really weird time and just happened that there was absolutely nobody interested in it. bidding. I guess that could be a possibility as well, but that's kind of fishy to me that it would go that low, below market, which is clearly established at $700 to $800. So that's 2018. Again, I'm down like 50% on my investment on those, at least. This is the auction where it went for $281. That seems very, very weird to me. And then the last thing, the last thing I'll look at just up close is the performance of the 2026 Prism, which again came out in June of this year. And, since that time has gone up a little bit. It came out, it looks like it was at about $840, and, got all the way up to like a bit over 1,000. Actually, maybe not. I thought this got a little bit over 1,000, but it looks like it was at like 968 and then 950, and then has come down a little bit in the last week or so. So the current average price is about $838. So kind of crazy from distribution. I think these are like $150 boxes. I happen to get, I think, 2 of them. Again, just kind of ordering what I could and seeing what would be allocated to me, and was fortunate enough to get these. But I have to say, none of this experience or none of the data here makes me super excited to go and buy soccer cards at market pricing and speculate on them. But if I can get certain key sets like Prism and Select in soccer, I certainly will get them like from distribution. I mean, that's a no-brainer, even if it's and you have to understand that like the average Prism soccer card box is not going to do nearly as well as this one. I think this has like Messi autos in it, and again, probably a bunch of other good rookies and star cards from World Cup players. But there's a lot of Prism soccer products that come out and they're just kind of duds, and they will sell for a titch over distribution cost, and you'll probably lose money if you sell it because of the fees. So not every Prism, I don't want anybody to think that Prism soccer hobby boxes are like a can't miss. This one is because of timing and the World Cup going on, but a lot of them are not. And if you buy them, you'll be struggling to make your money back a lot of the time. And so that's kind of why I haven't been very active in acquiring this stuff for the past several years, feeling a little bit burned by the experience with the 2018 Prism FET or Cello boxes going down like 50% or more of the price that I bought them at. So, what's the conclusion of this video? I don't know if I have one. I would say soccer cards in general, sealed soccer cards, don't really excite me that much. Obviously, like if you had bought the 2023 Donruss hobby boxes at market when it came out, that would be a great win, and anybody obviously could have bought as many of those as they wanted at market pricing of like $350 or $400 back when they came out. But I don't know. I think that would be a pretty brave move back then, because I don't think it was a sure thing that it was going to do well, and that that one of the rookies in there was going to pop off. Like sometimes we know when there's a highly touted prospect that comes into the professional game and everybody's talking about him, and you just know that there's likely, it's likely that they're going to do well, and the products they have rookie cards in are going to do well. I just don't know, because I wasn't, following it at the time. I just happened upon my boxes of 2023 Donruss, and they've done quite well. But I don't know that I certainly personally could not make educated bets on stuff like this, when it comes out. And buying these at like $350 when they come out is still, it seems pretty risky, pretty like a high buy-in if you're not super knowledgeable. So if you are super knowledgeable and which players are likely to be drivers of a set's success, and you sort of watch what happens with past issues of like 2020 or of Donruss hobby boxes in soccer, and you see that the ones that have quote unquote can't miss prospects in them do quite well, and who the can't miss prospects are for the one upcoming, then by all means go ahead. But for the sort of casual soccer fan, or for someone who doesn't really know much about soccer at all like me, I don't know. I don't really get excited about the prospects of acquiring a lot of this stuff and like learning a lot of the things that I have to learn in order to do well at it. So, I get what I can cheaply. I let it sit around, and some of the boxes pop off, and some do not. Perhaps most do not. So that's kind of how I approach it. But I would say that certainly if some of the success in pricing on these products carries on, after the World Cup, and some of the players do well in their European leagues and the other places that they play soccer outside of the World Cup, these things could continue to appreciate, or they could hold their ground at least and not lose 50% of your investment. So I don't know. I think it's kind of maybe a slowly healing market in which there are opportunities if you're well educated and you know the sport and you understand the history of how different sets have performed over the past 5-6 years. I think anything probably is investable if you have those kinds of knowledge bases to work with. But for the average person who doesn't really want to learn a lot about the soccer card products that have come out in their histories and all of the players that drive the price performance of these products, there's probably easier ways that are less work to collect and invest into sealed products. So I don't know if that's a conclusion, but it's what I've got in terms of thoughts on soccer cards for now. I'll continue again to acquire things and hope for the best on this, but my focus is gonna be elsewhere, in other sports that I know a bit better and the products I know a bit better, or in things like TCGs, which I'm quickly amassing a lot of information about and have talked about a lot on this channel. All right, that's what we got. If you're a big soccer card collector, you see opportunities out there and you think it's just primed for a real strong next 5-10 years, love to hear about it in the comments. I'd love to hear what you're kind of going after. If you think there are can't miss opportunities out there, like I feel like Topps Chrome Basketball, like if you find that at MSRP, it's a can't miss situation. And if there are things like that in soccer, I don't know about them, but plenty of people probably do, and maybe you're one of them. So I'd love to see your comment and let us know what that is. All right, thanks everybody. We'll catch you all next time. Bye now.